So I know a lot of people have questions about different substrates to use for planted aquariums. I know I get asked a lot what substrate I use and what's the best, so I thought I'd make this video and kind of talk about the main substrates people use and kind of go through a little brief over each one and tell kind of their pros and cons, and then I'll kind of give my opinion. But so to me, there's 3 or 4 main ones, and that's gravel, sand, dirt, and then an actual planted substrate like I have in this tank. And we'll start with gravel. So gravel is, many people use it. Planted aquariums like this or any other scapes like this, usually you're not using gravel. You use it maybe as a for looks, but you're not using it as a main substrate. What I'm getting at is, a lot of beginners use it as a main substrate. Most people still do, even people that still do it for a long time. Gravel is just a good simple substrate to use. But for plants, it gets kind of tricky because some people want to do plants, and you can like a nubius or like java fern and different mosses that don't need actual substrate, that can just be attached, like I got right here, like got attached to rocks. Java fern can be attached to rocks or wood. Moss can be to wood or rock. So plants like that don't even need substrate, those are your best options. People like to do stem plants, and if you do stem plants, it has to be, very low tech. Kind of like this Bacopa. You got, really, there's not a lot of options stem plants that are really low tech. I'm blanking out here on some other ones, but if I think of some other ones, I'll put them in the description. But the thing about gravel is there's no food for, because obviously stem plants get all their nutrition from the substrate. So having gravel, there's nothing there, and the only way to do that is if you put fert tabs in your substrate, and that's pretty much the only way you're going to get your stem plants food and keep them healthy as best as possible. But as long as you have good lighting, if you're fertilizing, and if you have CO2, gravel can work out and you can do just fine. But it's just kind of, gravel's just not the best at all. But so it's the number one I don't recommend, but there is ways to do it if you can't afford other options. So the next one is sand, and kind of similar things. This one is better, definitely an upgrade. Better for the stem plants because for roots wise, the roots have better, can get through the substrate. Gravel, it's kind of hard for roots to grow, especially if you have big gravel. So sand is a lot finer, so it's easier for roots. And same thing with sand, it has no nutrition for stem plants, or for any other plant like a mid-ground plant or even a carpeting plant. You'll still need fert tabs in sand, and doing that in sand is a little easier and a lot better. So in that you can easily do, like most tanks like this will have plant substrates, and some scapes will have like go half and half on sand. So you can definitely do it. You just have to consistently put new fert tabs in there every however often, depending on which brand you go with. But and also, if you have liquid fertilizer, that helps too, but it's not always gonna be enough, because the plants always are gonna need getting food from the roots too. But you definitely needing a liquid fertilizer is definitely gonna be a must if you have the gravel or sand. So the next one is one I see people use a lot, especially if they can't afford more of a top of the line substrate, is dirt. And dirt can be great if you do it right, and if you get one that actually has nutrients. I know some people go to hardware stores and get dirt that actually has nutrients in it, and it does work, but it won't last as long as some of these premium substrates. So again, like, it'll last you, I've never done with dirt, so I can't give you an exact number how long it lasts you. I can't see it lasting more than 6 months to a year. If that, I doubt it makes it to a year. But those plants are gonna really suck up the nutrients out of that substrate real fast, and it won't last you that long. But But same thing, it's not the best option, but it is way better than the other previous two for stem plants. Dirt is basically what this substrate is, but it just has multiple things added more that just makes it better and lasts longer. But you can also do carpeted plants in dirt. But again, with the previous two having fert tabs, eventually you're going to need those. So just to keep that in mind. But so the previous three, those are kind of the main ones people go with, especially if they're trying to go insane with the plants. Most people try dirt, and most people have success and do just fine and do whatever you want. Even with having CO2, that definitely helps. If you're having a low tech plant tank, it gets trickier with some of these substrates. So if you want to have a little bit of boost, CO2 is definitely a must if you're having some of these harder substrates. But so the number one recommended is kind of an obvious choice is having an actual plant substrate. You got, I know, fluvial stratum, you got tropica, you got, like, I have ADA substrate, and sea can flourish is another good one. So those are kind of the main ones people like using, and those are all really good. In my opinion, the best one is ADA because it's basically the same as the other ones. Like fluvial stratum is literally almost the same thing, but the difference between ADA and fluvial stratum is ADA lasts way longer. Like you could probably get almost 2 years out of ADA. Maybe it depends. It really depends, but you could probably get over a year with ADA, and then you'll eventually have to again with fruit tabs and all that. But usually most people rescape a tank by then or change it up. So really, most people don't even keep a tank like that for long. At least people like me and people that do a lot of tanks like this. But so the light just turned off. So good timing about to end this video. But so if you have any question about substrate, definitely comment down below. I know I didn't go through everything. Just kind of a quick brief talk about each one, but in my choice, having a plant substrate is, if you can afford it, is going to be your number one option for any plant, for a carpeting plant, and also products like ADA is also good because they also have finer substrates for stuff like carpets and stuff, which is a lot better for the carpets to root in and all that. So there's a lot of benefit to having those premium options. It's just going to go a long way and make your plant tank that much better and have one, looking like this. And this one doesn't even have CO2. That's the thing. As long as you have a good substrate, that's my number one thing. You don't necessarily need CO2 as long as you keep up on your maintenance. Still dose on ferts, but at a very little rate, so you don't get too much algae. Um, and also just having a decent light like mine, like just having like this one's a Phoenix SE, and it's about $120 light, and will do just fine. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one.